Well, some put frosting on their cake and some put glazing on their donuts, but we're going to tell you the real story about glazing. All right. This is the real story with Adam and Sherry. I'm Adam Hamalian,
And I'm Sherry Hutchens.
and we're two broker associates with 40 plus years of experience in real estate, talking about all things real estate. How you doing, Sherry?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was on broker's tour today, and there were some donuts out there, and some muffins. It was a good day to go see agents and pick up some food.
And it wasn't raining yet.
It was not raining yet. We're excited about today's episode. We have some special guests, which we'll get to in a moment. But before we
Yep.
get there, Sherry, what do you want to talk about the market? What's going on?
Yeah, market is very active at the moment. We are heading into spring break, although even though it's only February 24th, it feels like we are deep into it. We've been busy showing houses and writing offers and working on a couple listings and closing a deal. So yeah, it feels like spring.
And not only us, but a couple of the agents that we're mentoring, they got into contract this last week. So,
Yes.
what was that phrase from Dave, the movie? It's Friday. Everybody works on Friday,
It, yeah,
or it's Monday.
everybody works on Friday.
Yeah, well, it's spring market. Everybody works in spring market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love
All
that
right.
movie.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to introduce our guests from Custom Exteriors. We have with us Jeff Kendall and Grayeagle Porter. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
It's nice to have
Very
you.
welcome.
We have referred Custom Exterior to a number of our clients who are looking into replacing windows, and we just thought what a great resource they've been to some of our real life clients. And then for those of you listening to us, we thought we'd share with you their wisdom or have them share with us their wisdom.
Mhm.
Um,
There's
Jeff,
so much to know.
yeah, there is so much to know. We're hopefully going to cover a lot of material here in the next 45 minutes or so. Jeff, you're the owner, founder of the company. You want to tell us a little bit about Custom Exteriors, how long you've been doing it, and yeah, what we need to know.
Sure. We started Custom Exteriors in 1997. The other owner, Kevin Gundry, and I were both estimators for a Sears contractor in the early and mid 90s. And starting the company was really Kevin's idea. He had marketing experience. We both had a lot of sales experience, and he talked me into this in 1997. We literally started from the counter of my wife's flower shop in Orinda, Seifert's.
Oh,
Oh,
So
wow.
wow.
when she closed up at 5 o'clock, Kevin and I would sit on a table and look at each other and wonder who are we going to call to do a window estimate for. So it really took off in the late 90s. The economy was good. Real estate prices were going up. Credit
Mhm.
lines were easy. And we really grew the company fast. From Orinda, we went to across the street from Home Depot on Crow Canyon, then to Dublin, then a big office in Pleasanton. And we've been in Pleasanton, gosh, almost 20 years now. So all these years, we've been doing window replacement, door replacement, front entry doors, and currently we have a James Hardy division where we do the fiber cement siding all over the Bay Area. We have about 55, 60 employees. It's been kind of an up and down ride. In 07, 08, times were really, really tough, but we
Yeah.
kept the doors open. We didn't lay anybody off, and we survived that. And here we are, 28 years later, and it's still fun. I don't have any plans on retiring, and
Mhm.
yeah, things have been great.
That sounds great. I don't think I realized about the James Hardy because that's actually the product I have on my house when I did my remodel. It's a great fire resistant product and it weathers really well. You don't have to worry about the wood absorbing moisture and then bubbling your paint every summer, which is what I had to deal with before. So um, ma- we don't necessarily need to talk about the James Hardy, but because specifically we want to hear about windows, but feel free to bring the siding in as you want to the conversation because that is such a good product. So the main reason that we think people would be interested is hearing about window replacement. Just to clarify, do you do new construction as well, or is it primarily retrofit?
We do both.
Yeah.
We do
Okay.
both, but we focus more on new construction. New construction is, to me, a better installation because you're doing it like the building was built that way. See what I
Yeah.
mean? You're going down to the studs and you're starting over and you flash and do all that good stuff. Where retrofit is just going over the frames. Um, I mean, we retrofit when we pretty much have to. Like in Alameda, there's a lot of these old steel windows called Charlie Whites. They're made out of
Yes.
steel and they have rounded stucco. And to get those out of there, it takes a lot. So a lot of times we just retrofit right over them. But that's a small percentage of what we do.
Yeah. So I should formally introduce Grayeagle Porter. He is the project manager, or maybe one of project managers that works there. And so Jeff brought him in to be the expert. Now, I think Jeff is the expert, but Grayeagle's the guy who's got his hands on the estimating and running the thing. So we're so thankful that we have both of you. So
Yeah.
as we think about, most of the clients or our clients will be looking to retrofit. They're not doing new construction, though they might do additions. So when you first arrive at a client's house, what are the things that you start to take in as information points for a client? Like when should a client think about doing replacing windows?
Well, it's kind of an interview. Um, I usually start by asking a lot of questions when the house was built. What's important to you? Why are you looking at windows? And they usually tell me. And so it's more of kind of an interview part, just to get to know, uh, you know, where the client's at.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what their needs are and
Yes.
what they're trying to do. Um, s- the one of the things that people have in mind is the material that want to match their architecture style. And we were just chatting. I learned something new as we were getting started that you've discontinued a line, but material for windows, vinyl is what we've seen a lot of being done, and there's some drawbacks of that. And then I guess you said you had fiberglass and then maybe a third category of aluminum clad wood windows. So they're not aluminum windows like what we saw put in the 50s, where it was just a thin piece of metal and the heat transfer goes back and forth. So talk a little bit about the differences of those three products and why somebody might choose one over the other.
Well, vinyl is fastly becoming a thing of the past. Was a very, very inexpensive and fast way to do your windows, and they're basically made out of plastic. Vinyl is polyvinyl chloride, which is plastic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have vinyl windows in my house, but I also have fiberglass and I have wood. I have all three.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah. So we decided not to do vinyl anymore because we have higher quality products, and also it was kind of distracting from that. So they just made an executive decision. We're not going to handle that product anymore. Um, I had a few break-ins with vinyl windows. That's another reason why I feel good about not doing that anymore. And it's not as strong as fiberglass. Fiberglass is 8 times stronger. I mean, it's
Mm,
like we show this video when we go in and give an estimate of some guy with a chainsaw cutting they froze the window, and then they got a kid skateboarding on it, and then
yeah.
he takes a weed whacker to the window,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt it at all. He just wipes it clean, and it's really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
aluminum clad wood windows have a completely different criteria, but it's all about historic beauty and attention to detail. If you want oak, I can get them in oak or mahogany. The sizing is I have way more options for sizing. Sometimes in some of these houses in Berkeley and Oakland, I'm forced to use both products. Um, because Marvin aluminum wood clad makes bigger sizes. They have more detail. So sometimes I'm absolutely forced to use that product in conjunction with fiberglass, and they look so similar from the outside
Wow.
that
Okay.
you can mix and match, and the color palette is exactly the same. So they come in all these colors, and the aluminum or the fiberglass, they're stone white, that sort of thing. So the criteria is beauty when it comes to wood windows. If you want to put your furniture up on your walls and stain it, that's where you go.
Yeah. So when you say color palette, the exterior color, the aluminum cladding and the fiberglass has some choices beyond just the white vinyl. Is that
That's correct. Yeah, you get like 7 colors in fiberglass exterior, 3 interior colors. Like the big thing now is black and black. Everybody
yeah.
wants black windows.
Yeah.
Uh, so you get black and black or bronze or black and white. And, just all these choices. And with the clad, you get, I think now they're up to 24 different exterior colors. And that's actually applied with what they call a Tynar paint. Tynar paint is like similar to that they use for the space shuttle. It's like the best
Oh,
paint in the world. Yeah,
wow.
good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh.
You know,
So,
no, go ahead.
oh, so yeah, your warranties too. Now, because wood has a different criteria, and wood is a natural product, you get a 10-year warranty on the frame and 20 years on the glass. And the reason for that, and that's across the board with Anderson wood, with Pella wood, Eagle Hurt, all of them have the same warranty. And the reason being is that wood is a natural product. We don't know how well you're going to take care of them. And also, we don't know what kind of conditions they're going to be under. Whereas fiberglass has a lifetime warranty.
Oh, wow. All right.
Lifetime. Yeah. So it's the last window that you're probably going to put in that building. Yeah. And we're
Mm.
replacing a lot of vinyl right now.
Yeah.
You can paint fiberglass. Fiberglass is made from silica sand. So is glass. So they both expand and contract at the same time.
Oh,
Sometimes the
interesting.
vinyl Yeah, sometimes the vinyl expands really quick and the glass doesn't. You get gaps and then you get, moisture in between the panes. That doesn't happen with fiberglass. Doesn't happen, that is.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that. Um, Well, we're talking about durability. A big thing for homeowners right now, especially in the Berkeley Hills, Oakland Hills, Clayton, is fire insurance and fire hardening requirements are all going up for everybody. And so I'm not sure if there was any lessons learned from the Palisades fire, but I'm sure that you guys must have some information about what window you might use if you're in a high fire area and what to pay attention to.
Okay. Yeah, so in hilly areas that are dangerous for fires, those areas are called WUI areas, WUI, which stands for Wild Urban Interface. And building departments, when we're pulling permits, will require in WUI areas that one of the two pieces of glass, everything's dual pane now, as most people I think are aware, but in WUI areas, a piece of tempered glass would slow a potential fire down from the exterior trying to get into the interior. So even in some areas where it's not required, our estimators will say it's really a good idea. If you're worried about fire safety, pay a little bit more when you get one of those two pieces of glass tempered. And peace of mind is a beautiful thing. So a piece of tempered glass will slow the fire, and it is required in WUI areas around the Bay Area.
That's interesting because I think I did hear that that was one of the things that exacerbated some of the. I mean, based on how horrible that one fire was, I don't think it made a big difference, but that my impression was that the panes of glass that were not tempered were, well, somebody said they were popping. They were breaking in some way because they were either expanding too quickly or the heat just whatever whatever the reaction between the heat and the glass, and so then you had this blowtorch of the fire going right through the window into the interior and exacerbating the fire. So it sounds like the having at least one of the panels tempered stops that or slows it down.
And the tempering is a heating process that makes the glass about 10 times stronger. So Grayeagle and I have seen many a demonstration where in the factories, a floor manager will literally take a baseball bat and hit the middle of the glass hard, and it is very, very difficult to break. So there are building codes. All doors, if they have glass, it must be tempered glass. If a window comes within 18 inches of the floor, that has to be tempered. So there are different building regulations. It's all about safety, and tempered glass is much, much more difficult to break.
And people do tempered glass for other reasons as well. For safety,
Mhm.
kids' bedrooms, where there's a lot of activity. because it's so hard to break. And when you do manage to break tempered glass, it breaks into little popcorns.
Yeah.
So not these big shards and all that. Some people are mindful of earthquakes, and so they want tempered glass. And when we go in the house, we look for all this. That's what we do. We make sure we do everything to code, so that we don't get any hiccups with the building department. And we know what all those codes are. There's even some codes that we don't know what they are until right. So that happens once in a while, right? Like
What an inspector brings something to our
yeah,
attention.
like what was that sewer?
Oh, sewer laterals. That's a
Yeah,
long story, but Berkeley, long story short, if a job has a valuation of more than $60,000,
Yeah.
then a sewer lateral video has to be produced to prove to the city that the sewer lateral is in good shape. I have a job right now in Sausalito where that video was done and the sewer lateral is a mess, and my customer has to redo the sewer lateral. I don't know if that's 10 grand or 50 grand, but that has to be done before we can get the final sign off on our window permit. So,
Wow.
but we over the years, we've also educated many a city building inspector. We really know the codes backwards and forwards. I read up on them every other month or so. And a lot of these building inspectors, I don't know how they can know all the codes for electrical and plumbing and windows and roofs and foundations and cement. It's really a daunting task for them to learn all that. So we know the window codes.
Well, while we're talking about permitting and codes and requirements, so one of the things that I've had a client run into before is having to do with bedroom egress. So one of the standard definitions for a bedroom is that it's got to have a closet, it's got to have egress besides the doors or climb out a window, and that the code is responsible enough to say the opening for the window has to be big enough for a person to climb out. And I'm kind
Mhm.
of curious how you handle it when somebody might be replacing an older, say, double hung window. Um, do you have to figure out whether the you can replace like for like, or sometimes you have to swap out a different style opening?
well, egress first off means escape. So you have to have one egressible opening in every bedroom in your house that is egressible, and it has nothing to do with what kind of shape you're in or how agile you are. It has to do with width, height, square footage, and distance from the floor. So that four criteria has to be met in order for something to be egressible. Now, a lot of windows are not tall enough to meet egress as a single or double hung, in which case we have to switch to maybe a multiple or a casement window that opens like a door to make it egressible. I come across this every day. So there's many different types of solutions that we have. And again, sometimes the aluminum clad product gives me options that I don't have with fiberglass. Fiberglass is more streamlined.
If you come to a house that, say, the window is too high, so like I think about my grandfather's house, it was a bedroom that faced the street, and so the window was really high on the wall. I want to say the bottom of the window was like 5 feet up, and the window was from 5 to 7 or something like that. Like that doesn't seem like that would qualify as an egress. Does the homeowner need to cut a different hole for you to install a window? What does that happen? Or what happens there?
We can cut windows down if we're doing new construction. Now there's no weight bearing considerations under windows. If we have to widen it, sometimes you run into that. We run into like a structural engineer might have to be involved. Cutting down is very easy to cut a
And we
window
have
down.
to get within 44 inches of the floor
Yes.
to meet egress.
Mm.
And on older homes, we do see the bottom of a window in a bedroom. Sometimes it's shocking how high it is, 6 feet up. I mean, what child in a fire, God forbid, is going to be able to get up 6 feet? So, yeah, a window like that, as Grayeagle mentioned, cutting down is no big deal, but going wider is a big deal because then a header up at the top, we'd have to replace an existing header, go with a wider header. Often an engineer would have to do calculations, drawings, and plans for a picky building department. So going wider, big deal. Going down for egress, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Mm.
I suppose the cost of that will vary depending upon things like the exterior and how you're replacing anything that you're cutting into. So if it would say a stucco exterior and you're trying to match stucco, that's going to be harder. But if you choose to do some design alteration, I'm going to do a plug here for the Hardy board. You could, if you made it wider, you could keep the stucco outside the window and put Hardy board below it. So I'll see people do that, and you create a different texture on the outside. But I'm not an architect. I'm speaking into your space, but that just seems like it compounds it. So just to clarify for our guests, for our listeners, so when we talk about new construction and versus a retrofit, you're not saying new construction like it's a whole brand new house. You mean that the way the window is installed, it's adhered to raw stucco or whatever flashings are there, as opposed to cutting within the opening and it being an insert. Am I describing that right, or do you have a better way to describe it?
Retrofit can have several meanings. Some people say replacement windows, meaning retrofit. It's just a nomenclature. But a retrofit, you go over the frame, whatever frame that is.
Usually aluminum.
Yeah, usually aluminum. And then with new construction, you're actually taking the window frame out. So that means you have to take some wood trim out on the outside, or you have to cut the stucco back, and then you just recreate it. But you go down to the studs, you flash the studs, put the window in, flash the window. It's called it's a dual method, and most building departments only require A or B. We do both.
Okay.
So yeah, so yeah, new construction is by far, in my opinion, a better way to install a window because you see less frame. You know, the window doesn't get that much smaller.
You also get a chance to look at the framing around the perimeter of the windows. Sometimes there's dry rot, and you can't see that if you're retrofitting. So important to understand that. Another term for new construction installations would be nail-on or nail-thin installations. So a retrofit installation, leaving the aluminum frame around the perimeter, new construction or nail-on installations, always removing the existing window frame, cutting back either the wood side, breaking away, and then much more labor intensive, more expensive. But we've kind of seen the evolution over the years. When we started in the late 90s, I'd say 90% of our jobs were retrofit. And now I'd say it's close to 90% is new construction nail on.
Yes.
As Grayeagle mentioned, with new construction, you're getting a bigger window, and you're also getting a chance to inspect the framing around the perimeter for rot. Might be your only chance in a lifetime to actually see if things are looking good around the perimeter of the window frame.
Yeah. Going back to permitting, what are like lead times on permitting? Or in your case, do you apply for the permit for the client? What should they anticipate that kind of logistics part of it be?
So a good question. We take care of all the permitting, all the submittals. We schedule the inspections. A city like Walnut Creek, for example, everything now is emailed in. I used to go to all the building departments for 20 years, made friends in the building departments, but stood in lines. I mean, Oakland could be a nightmare with hours waiting, but now just about every building department in the Bay Area, you can email your applications in. Now, Walnut Creek can be just a couple of days, no big deal. Berkeley and Oakland, we have permits right now that have been submitted, and we've been waiting months. So some of the building departments are not very efficient, and we really have to stay on them. You know, what's the status? Do you need anything more from us? And we have a guy full time in our office that all he does all day is he calls these building departments, sends emails, and if things are really dragging, then he will drive to building departments because things can happen a little faster with some, face-to-face interaction, but it can be really challenging. And we have homeowners that say, you know what, I'll take care of the permit. And we discourage that. It's not easy. And we can speak the language with the plan checkers, with the inspectors, and it's just a service that we offer to our customers. So they don't even have to think about it. We will handle it. And the cost can vary quite a bit. In Oakland, permits can run $1,500 to $2,000. San Francisco, also can be very, very expensive. And it really has to do with what's called the valuation. So a window job that's $100,000 will be a much more expensive permit than a $20,000 job. So the valuation is what most cities and counties base their permit fees on.
My sniff is that Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco might have a layer of architectural review that a place like Walnut Creek might not. Is that true, or is that just me being naive?
Correct. And San Francisco has historical requirements. Grayeagle has a lot of experience in the city, pulling permits and also helping customers learn and figure out what can be done, especially the fronts. I think it's still the case. San Francisco does not allow vinyl.
No,
And
no
in,
vinyl in front
and
of
in
any
many,
buildings.
and
Yeah.
in many cases, they require a Marvin aluminum clad wood. And in rare cases, they want a wood exterior, which
Yes.
is unfortunate for the homeowner because they'll
Yeah.
have to, if it faces south or west, they'll have to repaint every
It's
2 to
maintenance.
3 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what? The interesting thing about San Francisco is that every building department has the right to amend the building code book. And that's the last chapter you read in that
so they
architectural
can make
Bible.
it tougher.
They can make it tougher. They can make up their own stuff. And they do. And sometimes you learn it the hard way. You know, a good example is Eric Clapton's kid fell out of a window. So now on every second story window in every bedroom in San Francisco has to have a window opening control device that he'd have to have special knowledge to open that window. So just things like that. Decorative things like OG lugs in the front. Grid patterns are big. You got to replicate them exactly or in the style of. And sometimes you can you go back and forth with the plan checker sometimes, but a lot of requirements, and we try to stay up on all of them.
Well, let's talk about divided light while we're on to that. So maybe there's a house that has originally had, a grid of like 20 small windows in a bigger panel. They're all like 8 by 10. What's the, what do you feel about as a estimator installer? Do you like it when those divided lights are adhered to the outside of the glazing? Glazing, for those of you who don't know, glazing is a slang term, not a slang term, but the term for the glass itself. So, but on the glazing, or do you like it when the grid work is in between the dual panes, or maybe even clicks onto the interior? Do you have thoughts about which one you would get for your own house?
Well, again, grids are kind of a dying thing too. So a lot of people go with clear glass because they like to bring the outside in more. But there's no such thing really anymore as divided lights. They are simulated divided lights. So there's a grid that goes on the glass on the outside that's attached with a 3M product. There's a grid on the inside, and then there's a spacer bar. So it looks authentic. So it looks real, but it's actually simulated. That's one piece of glass.
Yeah.
But generally, grids between the glass look fake. You're not fooling anybody. And so I think simulated divided lights are the way to go if you're going to go with lights.
All right. Sherry, do you want to ask about dual pane windows failing?
How did you know I was waiting to ask that question? One of the things we encounter all the time when we're out showing houses or when we're in contract is lots of windows that have the seals have failed and they've gotten foggy or even have condensation inside. And clients really, for the most part, are not familiar with that. And we can recommend to them mostly we say you can just replace the glass. A lot of times we will go a little further and figure out if the windows are still under warranty. The main window that we've had issues with is Milgard lately. We love Milgard. We think they make great windows, but there seems to be this a lot of failed seals. So our understanding, what I've learned from Milgard is that the warranty is lifetime for the first owner and 10 years for the second owner. And we've been fortunate in most of the cases where we're inheriting it as the second owner or our clients are. And we reach out to Milgard and they come out and just change the glass out. I've watched them do it. It's surprisingly easy and fast for them to do that. But My understanding of dual pane is that there is something in between those two panes of glass. And do you still have that if you're just switching out the glass? Does that, I mean, I don't know if I'm asking that question right, but do you see what I'm trying to get at?
You have to know what kind of glass to be replaced. So those are called IG units, insulated glass units, and most of them will have a spec, and they have a record of what what type of glass it is, and there's also sizing. If you get over a certain square footage, it has to be thicker.
Mhm.
Most of your dual panes now have argon in them. Argon
Right.
is a gas that helps keep the heat in. That's all it does. And most of them are, but usually there's a record, and it goes by address. And there's even products that are obsolete now
Mhm.
that that some of these manufacturers still carry parts for. I've ordered them.
So, Sherry, it's never one piece of glass that is reordered from a glass shop. The IG unit is two pieces of glass with a spacer that separates those two pieces. So,
Right.
all window manufacturers, they will remake a dual pane IG that can be
Just
swapped out.
dropped in.
And most window companies like Custom Exteriors don't do that, but glass shops, and they're all over. Lafayette Glass is a good one, Dublin
Yeah.
Glass, Dan's Glass, and
Yep.
they do that on a daily basis. Now, Milgard, I believe they have a stamp that you can usually see. Sometimes you need a magnifying glass, but as Grayeagle mentioned, I think the Milgard service department can access the actual order with the
Yeah.
address
Yep.
or the stamp that's on the spacer. If
Yeah,
you
they've
look
taught us
between
where
the
to
two
look
pieces.
for it. If you're looking at a window in the upper left-hand corner near the top, it's etched into the frame of the glass, I guess. And it's so small, it's hard to see. But if you take a picture of it, then you send it off to them, then they know what they're dealing with. And every window has a unique number or code or whatever it is. And then they just
I,
come out and replace the glass or
right.
replace whatever they do,
Yeah.
using the
Yeah.
wrong terminology.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've seen their prices really spike. It used to be about $200 or $300 to replace an IG. Now
Hmm.
I think that's tripled, where
Hmm.
glass shops on average are 500 to 1,000. So often we'll tell a potential customer, maybe it's better to take that $5,000 or $6,000 and apply it to getting state-of-the-art new fiberglass Marvin windows rather than
Yeah.
replacing the IG. I think it's a 5-year warranty typically when IGs are replaced. So
Yeah.
a customers, and we see the failed glass units more facing south and west because it's an issue with sun. It's
Oh,
amazing.
interesting.
Most northern facing never fail, but
Hmm.
with the heat just breaks down the caulking compounds and maybe the spacer. And then you see that condensation on the inside, and the sun can dry that out, and it doesn't look very pretty. But
Well,
yeah,
Jeff, you read my mind. I was going to ask you if the window is no longer under warranty, when does it make sense to just replace the whole window instead of the glass? So,
right, right.
Well, so
And
you brought up an interesting point. So when the dual pane glass, the inspectors like to say it failed, but the seal that keeps that argon gas in is broken somehow, and the argon gas escapes, and it's replaced with just air around, sometimes with moisture.
the moisture.
Yeah. So what can you just describe like what's the value of the dual pane? You kind of did a little bit, but just kind of revisit it. And is how much of it is like is it like is the house going to fall down if the seal has failed? I mean, like people get catastrophic about it. And just kind of can you give us a sense of how important to pay attention to that? Is it cosmetic? Is it personal preference? Is it comfort? Is there a danger?
I would say no danger. It just doesn't look very nice. I mean, the condensation can be dried out. Again, facing south or west, that's more typical. But I would say there's no danger. Argon is an inert gas. It's not poisonous. So if argon is seeping out a little bit, no big deal. Um, and I live in Lafayette. My neighbor across the street, when he remodeled his house, he did 50 Milgard windows, and they half of them failed. And
Oh no.
To Milgard's credit, they came out and kept replacing them. I think the labor's even included Grayeagle in the first 10 years.
Mhm.
Um,
It
So,
was
but
for one of our listings,
the
actually.
labor,
It was
yeah.
100% replacement, no fees.
So, with our Marvin products, we're seeing far less seal failure.
Mm,
Marvin's been around 100 years. We just love their products, their story, their history,
mm,
their service to us. We're the only Marvin Infinity dealer in the Bay Area, so we were very flattered and overjoyed that they decided we were going to be the Bay Area representative for Marvin Infinity. So really,
mm.
really, really happy with them.
So when we're talking about warranties, so Marvin will warranty their product. Do you warranty the labor, or if there was a problem with installation, is that, or does Marvin cover that, or is that something that you represent?
So we have a labor warranty that's also lifetime. And I think
Mm.
what people get out of that is that we're so confident our crews, and by the way, all employees, we do not use a subcontractor for this work.
That's really nice.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, we
and
love that.
20 and going on 28 years, we have about 21,000 jobs all over the Bay Area. And I'm just very confident as an owner, I'm not going to need to go back because we're really doing it right the first time. And we,
Mm.
in our production meetings, we tell our crews, guys, take an extra day if you need it. Don't work fast, get it right so that we don't have to go back ever. So it helps with referrals, it helps with reviews, and that's very unusual. I think the state of California requires that a contractor stands behind their work for a year. Well, I'm the president of the company. The other owner and I, Kevin and I, just decided, you know what? That sounds awesome. Let's go lifetime on the labor. So
Yeah.
that it gives our customers a great deal of peace of mind for sure.
And your reputation is out there, which is exactly why we wanted to hear from you.
Yeah.
How big is your general service area? We've talked about the East Bay, we talked about San Francisco. How far north and south do you work?
So we cover the Bay Area. We've had the occasional job in Santa Rosa. We have a job in San Luis Obispo. We even flew a crew to Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not saying we want to do that again, but we do cover a big area.
Two other questions, just as we're thinking about wrapping up here. What's the approximate lead time? So Grayeagle comes out, works up an estimate, gets that back to you. From the time that a client says, yes, I want to place this order, you can put an asterisk next to the permitting time, but like how long should it take for an order with a standard number of specialty windows mixed in with standard size till it
Well,
gets installed?
the process is that, it has to be remeasured. The job has to be remeasured. We have to pull HOA approvals. We have to pull a permit. Nothing gets ordered until all of that paperwork is in place. So generally, once the order goes in, it's anywhere from 3 to 4 months before we can get them installed.
Mhm.
And our crews can usually do 5 windows, new construction windows a day, and maybe 10 retrofit.
All
Mm.
right.
And I'd like to mention for agents and clients of yours in Pleasanton, we have a beautiful showroom that we just invested quite a bit in that shows a couple of patio doors, the aluminum clad wood products, the fiberglass products, the different methods of installation. We have our front entry doors there. So we encourage people to come to our showroom so you can really get your hands on the products. I mean, Grayeagle and the other six estimators, they have hand samples of windows. So we try to bring the showroom to a potential client, but obviously a sliding patio door, we can't get that in the car or into somebody's house. So Pleasanton is a really a great location, not far from, most East Bay locations. We're really proud of our showroom and encourage potential customers to come in to check out the different offerings there.
So now I'm going to ask you a really bad question because there's too many variables, but say a 2,000 square foot house. I don't know how many windows are typically in a 2,000 square foot house. Let's just say approximately 20 standard size windows, maybe one big picture window. Like, what's I know you got different products, but are typical job about that size, is that about a $70,000 job? What would give me a range
So
so that clients have a sense of budgeting?
And that when somebody's thinking about windows, that is absolutely the number one question in their mind. And many people would like to get an idea of the range before investing in an hour or two with somebody actually coming out to the house. In our sales meeting this morning, that was the primary topic. And on our website, we're tweaking it to give customers an idea of what the range is. And Adam, to answer your question, the range can vary a lot from what type of installation? Are there SDL grids? Is it a 3-story house? Do we need scaffolding? Do you want casing and jamming on the inside? So lots of variables, but we're giving a range per window installed from about 2,200 to 4,500, and that's kind of the medium range. And then if we get into aluminum clad wood windows, per window, we could be looking at 3,500 to 8,000 per window.
Wow.
So, and different species of wood, as Grayeagle mentioned, the mahogany and the firs. And so all that can really, so we're giving ranges now on our website and over the phone. So people have a clue or an idea. In 1997, our average job was 6,500 for a whole house,
Yeah.
5 or 6 windows and a door. So, nothing is getting less expensive. Insurance is going up, wages are going up, the cost of the products is going up. Fortunately, I don't think tariffs have impacted windows for us at all. Knock on wood, everything American made. So fortunately, no tariff issues that are sending prices through the roof. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
very.
you were far more brave than I anticipated. So thank you for that. Like when we go do listing appointments for people's listings and they want to know what we're going to sell their house for, we're very careful about not overpromising because like you said, there are so many variables and, whether it's, permitting or like all the things you said, obviously. So,
Well, and when we're showing houses, not just listings, we will be walking through and it'll be all single pane windows and the client will say, what do you think it would cost to replace it? And we give a ballpark and we take a stab at it and probably not, something that we should be doing, but we've gotten pretty good at least giving them a range and then giving them a referral, to a window company.
I learned years ago, one of my favorite all-time words is approximately.
Yes.
So I use it, a range, approximately. People say, oh, Jeff, give me a ballpark. Well, I'm not going to, I just don't want to say 330 down the left field line, 410 to dead center. That's ballpark statistics. So we're careful to give a range and use the word approximate because there's so many variables.
Well, the truth is what we usually say is when they ask, can I move this wall? Can I put a window in here? It's like, everything's possible. We just don't know how much it costs. So.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sherry, do you have any other questions?
No, but Grayeagle was going to say something.
Yeah, gentlemen, what do you have?
Yes, I can't let you guys go without talking about the most important reason why people want to change their windows, and that is thermal efficiency.
Yeah.
The glass these days have microscopic zinc and silver inside of the outside pane.
Required by Title 24 energy codes. It's a coating. The coating's on, excuse me for interrupting, the coating's on the inner surface of the outer pane of glass, and the glass appears to be slightly tinted, and we have to do that. Building permits require it. Title 24 requires it. So there's argon between the panes, better efficiency with the frames, and the coatings that really reduce heat, which is an issue in the East Bay. But we're in the comfort business, and these products, and I get this in Rossmore all the time. My 92-year-old mother lives on Ptarmigan, and her bill I saw yesterday, $770 for an 850 square foot Sequoia. Crazy.
That's ridiculous.
She has the heat on all the time, and people just want to be more comfortable. So we're in the comfort business, and these products, it's just a staggering difference. The improvements in glass technology, frame technology, sound, aesthetics, sound. There's different ways to improve sound dampening. So they're just wonderful products. It's been a blast doing this my career to help the Bay Area, help residents with their feeling more comfortable.
I've been with Jeff for 26 years, and I always say that I'm I'm in the business of improving lives, your
Yeah.
comfort,
Yeah.
your the noise and all that, and you're saving on your bills. And I remember I got my windows done 15 years ago, and I'm going, why didn't I do it a lot earlier?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Well, the way we met you, Jeff, is I was holding a house open in Rossmore maybe 2 years ago, and another agent came in. And I don't know how we got around to talking about windows, but he said, you need to know Jeff Kendall. And I wish I
Oh,
could remember his name. And I think shortly after that, we called you and had you go look at one of our clients' houses on Horseman's Canyon that had just closed escrow. But yeah, I mean, this other agent just spoke so highly of your company, and we're glad that we reached out.
thank you. We treasure our relationships with agents and realtors because you guys have referrals in just about every part of home improvement, and clients trust realtors' referrals.
Yeah,
So uh, thank
absolutely.
thank you for those kind words, and we'll keep the good surface. I remember that house on Horseman's Canyon, kind
Yes.
of
Yeah.
up at the top.
Third
It's
floor. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Did you ever replace the windows for her?
I don't
Or do you
remember. I
remember?
used to
Yeah.
remember. I just don't remember. Horseman's
Yeah.
Canyon, I know, is at the back of Rossmore. It's very
Yeah.
unique,
Yeah. It's an
beautiful. I think
elevator building.
okay. Yeah, I faintly remember that building, but I don't recall the specific
She
residence.
probably did it. She's done a major remodel on that house. She really made it her own. So I suspect she did the windows. So
Oh,
we should reach out
uh-huh.
and ask. So
Well, Rossmore's been a huge part of our business. I think we've done about 2,000 manners in there. And in
Wow.
2004, of course, my mom moves in. She sold the Berkeley house I grew up in and started with her and, of course, her neighbors. And at first, it was really daunting to get through the alterations permit process.
yeah.
Now I've got friends up there. Bill Parsons, the chief official in there. I did his windows in Clayton. I know the inspectors. I think we do 4 times as much work in there as any other window company. So Rossmore is dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of houses out there. So
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. We have Grayeagle's contact info in the show notes if you want to reach out to Custom Exteriors. He will be the guy that helps you figure out what the right product is and what windows you need.
mhm.
Custom Exteriors, like Jeff said, has a showroom in Pleasanton where you can go be tactile and touch the stuff and look at it, so you have a better idea about what's going to happen there.
We'll add
Uh,
the address in the show notes for that as well.
yeah. So,
Awesome.
all
If you guys
right.
want to email us that address, that would be great.
I have it. I have it.
Oh,
We
you
have his
do?
card.
Okay.
He sent us the business card.
Okay, good.
We're paying attention.
Well, I didn't
Anyway,
know if the showroom was in the same place.
yeah. Uh, thank you, everybody. If you're interested, if this was interesting to you, be sure to like and share this with your friends. And if you are a real estate agent thinking about getting into the business, check out our other podcast, the Real Story Coaching Edition, as we're walking through what it's like to be a real estate agent. Dorothy was right. There's no place like home. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.
Take care. Thank you for
You
having us.
too. You're welcome.
Thanks.